Hi guys, in this video I'm going to be talking about the subject of humility. I'm going to be referring to my book, The Alchemy of Yoga, a psychology akin to magic, and then I'll just kind of add on some commentary as I go through. I hope you enjoy. So, humility. Without humility, understanding is not truly possible. The beginning of knowledge is humility. Humility means that one should not be anxious to have the satisfaction of being honored by others. Humility means that the material conception of life makes us very eager to be honored. So I remember my yoga teachers telling me that yoga practice truly begins with reverence. So we need to begin it with reverence. We need to begin it with humility. And that's why we often start the yoga practice in the child's pose, because the child pose is a posture of humility, of reverence. Yoga reveals that the entry point to enlightenment is humility. Being humble symbolizes that we are willing to learn something new. Yoga inspires us to be uncertain, to be humble, and to have the power to change. When life humbles us, we have a choice to take it, to be humble, to change, and this is actually something to celebrate. I really remember my yoga teacher saying that being humble is something to celebrate. And they also said something that was really profound. They said, being shy is actually a form of arrogance and to get over yourself. Because when you show up to be a teacher of yoga, it's not about you, it's about sharing the recipe, the lineage, and it's about the students. When we are blessed with humility, we have the opportunity to shift perspective. We have the opportunity to release emotional attachment and perhaps a lot of karmic imprints. When approaching life with reverence, we are approachable. We ground ourselves in radical acceptance and create space for others to accept themselves too. It can be difficult to review our memories and to see where our ego consciousness affected our relationships and our present circumstance. Yet, this awareness is vital for our healing and is vital to bring our true nature into manifestation. And it requires humility. When we release our need to be right, we reduce the competition and the separation. So I'm going to repeat that because I believe that is important. When we release our need to be right, we reduce the competition and separation. Yoga inspires us that when we do this, it is of great benefit to all existing. The energy of competition is our greatest challenge as a collective, and we must all contribute to this shift of energy. When we can shift the competitive energy within ourselves, we experience a release. We become more peaceful and we become more with joy. It can be frightening to release competition from our energy field, as many of us have built up strong identities around this energy. And as a culture, often it is recognized in rewarding systems to have that competitive energy, such as in the workplace, with money, promotions, etc. For those who are most successful, there is that aggressive element of competition. So our society is still running with that energy, and we are coming into a potential, shift where we can be more about all together now, that oneness, yoga, bringing things together. We may face those moments in life where our reality collapses and everything we were conditioned to believe would be there for us isn't there for us. So those are moments of humility. We will all be forced into radical change. We can't stop change. Change is inevitable. The proof is in our bodies, right? We start out as babies, we grow into children, adolescents, young adults, adults, older adults, and eventually we change and transform even out of these bodies. Now, I don't know anything more humbling than that. We all will face radical humility. Are you ready? Humility remind us that when life brings us these opportunities, we can start to realize and embrace growth and remember what has not been lost. Sometimes people come to the practices of devotion, such as yoga, when they have literally nothing left to lose. So if you're in this channel and you're interested in yoga or you begin to follow me, there is something that brought you to the practices of yoga. So please consider that. Um, we all face reality collapses, and when we hit the wall, what is it that you will reach for? What is it that inspires you to get yourself back up and to get yourself up and over the challenge? Real wisdom comes from experiencing life, and these are moments, the moments of humility that can bring us back to our conscious awareness, back to our true intelligence. When humble, the yogi will accept whatever happens. The yogi knows it is happening for a reason because it is happening and does not let emotions and excitement unground them. The yogi is humble and develops deep patience and endurance, resilience. These qualities are vital on the path of yoga and just life. When we don't recognize the auspiciousness of life and its beauty, it is arrogance. Arrogance is a detriment to the practice of yoga. It is a detriment to our happiness. All yoga must begin with that reverence. It must begin humble because it will end humble. As a yoga instructor, so I've been teaching yoga for decades now, almost 3 decades now. There have been numerous opportunities to experience humbling experiences, and you might be following this channel and also a yoga teacher or pursuing to become a yoga teacher. So as a yoga teacher, students are always going to have opinions and preferences, and sometimes even very intense attachments to their preferences. It is our job as teachers of yoga to practice and demonstrate yoga. We guide a technique to assist others in calming their nervous systems and healing their adrenal glands. We help guide students in how to let go of their attachment to preferences. Now, it's okay to have preferences, right? Like I prefer to eat raw vegan food, or I do. Um, or I prefer to have comfort in my temperature. I prefer to feel healthy in my body. I prefer to have more freedom with my calendar and my time. So those are preferences or activities I prefer. Like I prefer to go snowboarding now because it's Colorado and wintertime, things like that. But when we become attached to our preferences, we create some of our own suffering, right? Like I prefer to be in love, but with someone else or in love in a partnership. But if you aren't experiencing that right now, you could fall out of love with yourself and your own life and the moment, and that can be a huge detriment. So humility is going to let you just find that peace and that enjoyment inside during moments when you are not receiving your preferences. Humility is an act of grace. So, whatever happens to anyone, anywhere, at any time, the yogi sees as arrangements from God. Now, this is hard for a lot of people to grasp because sometimes there's a lot of suffering in this world. I do want to invite in maybe some Bible studies and videos because that is something I'm also very passionate about. So maybe those are some topics we can dive into in future videos. Um, so as arrangements to cleanse and purify in order for God to take us back into the oneness. The practice of humility assists us into the state of conscious perception that whatever comes to pass is all right. Now, I think that's a really beautiful mantra or thing to think of, like whatever comes to pass, it is all right. Currently, humanity needs to practice humility. It is humanity that now needs to act towards solutions to all our current crises. We've lived with these problems for so long and understand them all, and all the many complicated threads of it. So, all life, no matter if it is aquatic, insects, birds, humans, we all have this competitive predatory nature. And I find that actually quite interesting and unique because when I am in states of love through meditation, I don't recognize those energies of predatory, competitive energy. Um, a portion of all life feeds on other life forms rather than food sources such as plants. So I choose to live life as a raw vegan. I do have some leather, so I'm quite a hypocrite, but I'm doing the best that I can. We're all doing the best that we can, but that's another interesting thing that um, all life is predatory here. It feeds on other life forms. Um, so that's interesting. So, how did this form of competitive, predatory existence begin to grow? Who would create life, any life form that consumed another, no matter how elemental the life form being consumed is? So, that's quite humbling, don't you think? Um, When we have clear consciousness, then we are ready for good communication. Then we are ready to communicate with the greater goodness of our being and with higher levels of consciousness available to anyone brave enough to experience it. So, the Earth planet is also a very unstable surface. We experience many natural disasters, wars, famine, violence, inequality, destruction. The practice of yoga will clear our consciousness so that we become available to seeing into this reality. And this is quite humbling. So, all the teachings of yoga, it begins with this reverence and this humility. To really take in and be able to withhold such divine love, we must be humble. It is important that we collaborate and co-create with one another and protect our energy, try to maintain presence with people kind of at same level or higher just to help you get inspiration. And we must hope that we have been practicing yoga when we really need it, right? When we're faced with those moments that are so humbling, well, we better hope that we have been practicing yoga and that we can remain humble and in reverence. Um, when bad things happen to good people, this is another tricky topic that yoga approaches. And one of my favorite yoga texts is the Bhagavad Gita. So I might even get into another video about that. But it's really important that we hold our own and hold our focus, and we hold the precious faculty of the mind's attention on resolving and bringing all of the karma into completion and return it back to oneness, return it back to love. So another mantra I really love is when I'm feeling challenges rise up, I will just work on letting go and then trying to fill up with love. So let go, fill up with love. We discipline our focus on staying positive in our action, thoughts, and words. Yoga says that everything's being recorded. So even your own internal mind chatter, it is making an imprint. So just be really, really mindful of what you speak, what you think, and how you act. And that takes a lot of presence, a lot of discipline, and a lot of healing and work. And that all starts with humility. That is the entry, that is the key to unlock this presence that is actually really joyful to participate with. When we align our consciousness with that vibe of consciousness that is love, because remember, love is the only emotion that is free of creating karmic imprints, and we receive support and faith and self-sufficiency to meet our challenges in our personal lives and challenges that we're going to face as collective, we begin to start to savor and to live in joy. So we develop by taking on responsibility. And to take on responsibility, we must be humble. So I hope that was inspiring for you. And I hope all you that practice yoga know that it is so much more than those videos of doing a warrior two, vinyasa flow, or different postures. There's an art to it, there's a metaphor to it, and I hope to express that to you on this channel with more talks on the teachings of yoga and not just be offering you yoga practice classes. So I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.